What is up, you guys? Welcome back to HBH Podcast. Now, before we get into this episode, I do want to talk about the channel a little bit because I feel like this is important. Those of you who have been subscribed to me for a while, you all know that I used to be Michael Myers Reacts. You guys know that I used to be really active on this channel. I'm not really so active anymore, and I do want to apologize for that. This year has been not good for me for YouTube. I've been busy. I've had so much stuff going on. And I want to do more podcasts, specifically HBH podcast. It's just been such a slow year, and I want to apologize for that. And obviously, this year is almost over. So in 2023, I'm going to try to be more consistent with these podcasts. So, yeah, I love you guys for sticking around because I'm sure some people unsubscribed. It is what it is. I completely understand. But those of you who have stuck around, I really appreciate you guys. But yeah, this episode's going to be fun. I just wanted to talk about the channel for a second, but this episode's going to be fun. I want to get right into this episode. I want to talk about the 2020s and 2022 horror films. Now, I'm going to say this right now. It may be a little too early to call this, but I almost feel like we're living in like a modern day 80s. You guys know that the 80s was pretty much perfect for horror. Now, yes, there was bad horror movies in the 80s, of course, but the 80s was the golden age for horror films and other things as well, but we're specifically talking about horror films. And I feel like the 2020s are going to be the same way. Now, I know 2020 we had the pandemic, so, there wasn't a lot that came out in 2020, which is understandable, of course, but I think 2021 was a great year, and I absolutely loved what am I talking about? I really enjoyed a lot of horror movies that came out this year in 2022. I think this year has been probably one of the best years for horror in the past 10 years. I liked a majority of the horror films that came out this year. There was a few that weren't so good, but and there's some that I still haven't seen, counting Shudder movies and all kinds of other independent horror films that I still have not yet seen. It's currently December 10th, so, the year's not over. I still haven't seen The Mean One with David Howard Thornton. Yesterday, I did watch Christmas Bloody Christmas on Shudder. Really good movie. I do recommend it. It's a really good time. Joe Bagos, I think that's how you say his last name, directed it, who also did Bliss and VFW. Big fan of VFW, by the way. That's one of my favorite films of 2019. I've seen it once, honestly, and I need to see it again. I have it on 4K, but it's such a good movie. Christmas Bloody Christmas, don't go into it trying to take it too serious. Just go into it having fun and knowing that it's a Christmas slasher film. If you go into it just wanting gore and just kind of cheesy characters, the characters ain't anything special. If you go in it just trying to have fun, you're going to enjoy Christmas Bloody Christmas. And if you have Shudder, definitely watch it. It's worth a watch. Still waiting to see The Mean One, as I said. What else is coming out this year? I still haven't seen Pray for the Devil yet. And I'm pretty sure there's some other things coming out that I just don't know of right now. But overall, this year is pretty much over. So I wanted to talk about this year as a whole. Let me just say my favorite movie of the year right now. I might as well talk about it. I talked about it. Wow, voice crack. I talked about it. I did just wake up just a little bit ago, so yeah, that kind of explains that. But yeah, don't do a podcast when you first wake up. It's not a good idea. All right, so my favorite movie of the year. I talked about it on the second HBH podcast, and that's Terrifier 2. Absolutely love Terrifier 2. I gave it a 10 out of 10. Now, when I give a movie like that a 10 out of 10, I need to make this clear because I'm sure there's some people like, how could you give a movie like this a 10 out of 10, The reason why I gave the movie a 10 out of 10, now, I know the movie isn't perfect. In my opinion, there's really no such thing as a perfect movie. I think that you could be close to having a perfect film, but I think the perfect film doesn't exist. I don't think you can make a perfect movie. I think you can get close to it, but I don't think you can make a perfect movie. Now, Terrifier 2, the reason why I think it's perfect, now I know it's not. I know there's movies 1,000 times better than Terrifier 2, but as a horror fan, my favorite subgenre of horror is slasher. So that should tell you right there why I love this movie so much. I mean, the kills are great. This one definitely has more of a story than the first Terrifier movie. The first Terrifier movie really was nothing at all. It was just art killing people. Yeah, we got introduced to, I think, Tara and Dawn. You know, they're cool characters, but they're not really deep characters like Sienna is and her brother Jonathan. Like, Terrifier 2 is just better overall to me. Now, I give both films a 10 out of 10 just because I'm such a big slasher fan. I love slasher films. So, for a slasher, as a slasher fan, I mean, that's what I'm looking for, and I had fun. I think why am I saying? I almost said David Howard Thornton. I think Damien Leone really nailed slasher films. I mean, that's something he should definitely stick with, even if he kind of does something other than Terrifier and Art the Clown. I think he should still stick in that subgenre. Such a good movie. I watched Halloween Ends this year. Also did a podcast over that. You guys know I'm not a huge fan of Halloween Ends. I think they completely screwed up the last movie in the trilogy, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not good. I wanted it to be good so bad, but it wasn't. You know what I realized? I need to not talk so fast. Like, sometimes I just talk way too quick, and I, like, interrupt myself. But yeah, Halloween Ends, not a big fan of it at all. It ain't the worst in the franchise, in my opinion, but it's not even close to the best or even in the middle. I may re-rank the Halloween franchise at some point. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of what else I've seen this year. I've seen The Black Phone. That's in my top 5 for this year. The Black Phone was really good. Ethan Hawke as the grabber was awesome. I could probably do a whole podcast just over The Black Phone. Not sure if I will, but yeah, such a good movie. Ethan Hawke is a great actor. The whole story of The Black Phone was great. I mean, the reason why that movie is actually so scary, I mean, I wouldn't say I was scared of the movie, but I can understand why it would be scary for parents, you know, people who have children, because, like, it's a realistic situation. I mean, your kid could get kidnapped and just scary stuff. It really is. Even not having a child, that's just scary to think about as anyone getting kidnapped. If you put yourself in the child's shoes, then it's like, yeah, that's pretty scary. I seen Jordan Peele's Nope this year as well. Honestly, it's grown on me so much. At first, I was like, this is probably his weakest movie. To be honest with you, it's probably my first or second favorite Jordan Peele movie now. I love Nope. I've been saying this since I've seen the movie, and I'm going to say it again. I don't know if I've even said this on the channel, but I think that Jordan Peele's Nope is his best shot movie for sure. The way that he shot Nope and the cinematography of Nope is, like, on point. Absolutely love Nope. Definitely check it out if you're a Jordan Peele fan. What else did I watch this year? I'm trying to think here. I feel like I'm going blank on something. Oh, I watched Pearl this year. X and Pearl. I didn't see X in theaters. I did go see Pearl in theaters. I wish I would have saw X in theaters, but I didn't. Saw Pearl, though. That was really fun. Can't wait to see Maxine next year. X and Pearl. Ty West. Let's just talk about Ty West for a second. This dude is one of my favorite directors. He has to be. If he's not in my top 5, he's in my top 10 favorite directors of all time. I love Ty West. He absolutely kills everything he does. He has so many good films. And X and Pearl are probably some of his best, honestly. I did like X a little more than Pearl, but I do think Pearl is a good prequel. Mia Goth can play insane so good. Like, she just knows how to tap into that side of herself, you know what I mean? Just to go crazy and insane, and I love it. And Pearl's also a really awesome timepiece. It's like, what, 18-something? The year's like 18-something. It's a great timepiece. It really is. And X I like a little more because it's more like Chainsaw Phil, more in the rural area, and definitely 70s vibes, like 70s horror vibes, and I like that a lot. I also saw Scream 2022. That was the first horror film I saw this year. And, like, why can't they just come up with a better name? Like, why do you gotta just call it Scream? Like, come on. They should have just called it Scream 5, ultimately. I feel like most of the Scream community wanted it to be called Scream 5. And I don't know what they're going to call Scream 6. But from what I'm seeing from leaks and stuff, and yeah, looks like it's basically just going to be called Scream again, which is stupid. I hope they don't do that, but we'll see. But yeah, Scream 5, pretty good movie. When I first seen it, it was like my third favorite in the franchise. I can't lie. Now it's my least favorite. Sorry about that. I forgot to turn my phone down. Don't you hate that? Like when you're doing a podcast and you forget to do something and it makes a noise? It's awful. But yeah, Scream 5 is my least favorite in the franchise now. I don't know. The more I thought about it, I seen it a few more times. I was like, it's missing the Wes Craven charm. Like, I know Wes isn't here anymore, and I do feel like Scream 5 honored Wes Craven and the Scream franchise. They did a good job. I don't think Scream 5 is bad. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to hate on it. But it's not Craven. So, I mean, I was thinking about the first 4 Scream movies, and I was like, these are Wes Craven films. They have that Craven charm. 5 is missing that. It's a great, honorable 5th installment, and I do like Scream 5. I just want to make sure I stress that enough because I don't want people to think, oh, you hate Scream 5. No, I like Scream 5. But the first 4 are just better to me. You know, I know some people would say that Scream 3 is the worst in the franchise. I don't agree. I actually like Scream 3. I don't think it's all great, but overall, I still think it's a good film. You know what I mean? I don't think it's awful. Same with Scream 4. Some people hate Scream 4. I like Scream 4. Now, I hate the opening to Scream 4. I think it's repetitive. It gets annoying, but as a movie, it's still good. Scream 5 is the same way. The opening I'm not crazy on because it's just recycled material that we seen in the first Scream movie. But overall, it's just missing something, and it's Wes Craven. You know what I mean? It's still good. I'm ready for Scream 6. I actually think that Scream 6 is going to be better than Scream 5. Just because I feel like with Scream 6, they're going to actually make their own Scream movie other than trying to be safe. I feel like when they made Scream 5, they were just trying to be safe. They didn't want to make the fans mad. I feel like with Scream 6, they're going to go all out and show us what they can really do with the Scream franchise. You know, they're taking it to New York City. There's a photo from with Ghostface holding a shotgun in a grocery store, so that's new. Everyone's tripping out over that. I think it's cool. It's not the first time Ghostface has used a gun. I hate to break it to y'all, but at the end of every Scream movie, almost every Ghostface killer has a gun, even though they're not technically in costume or wearing the mask and not revealed, and they are revealed. Ghostface has used a gun. This is not new. It's a little new because it's in costume. They're not revealed yet. That's fine with me. That does not bother me. I'm not sure why so many people are mad about that. But yeah, I think those are most of the movies I've seen this year. Mainstream, I watched some Shudder films, and I'm not going to get into those. Shudder usually is hit or miss, but they're mostly hit. I think Shudder pretty much has all good movies for the most part. They make good stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Those are the mainstream movies I've seen this year. I can't think of anything else. Well, I watched The Munsters. I guess I could talk about The Munsters, right? You know, it's pretty sad when you're at a point where you forget, like, all you watch that you have to mention The Munsters, because The Munsters was awful. Let me just say that. I like Rob Zombie. Not a fan of his second Halloween movie. His first Halloween movie, surprisingly, is growing on me a little bit, but I'm still not crazy about everything he's done in it. The Munsters was awful. I'm sorry. Like, I just could not... It didn't feel like The Munsters to me. I know it's a modern-day take on The Munsters, which is fine. But Rob needs to just stay away from established characters and franchises. He needs to stick to making original content because that's what he's best at. So I'm not too sure why he keeps doing that. But yeah, I did see The Munsters this year. Not a fan of it. Yeah, I think that's most of the stuff I watched this year. But I'm telling you guys, I think the 2020s is like our modern day 80s. I feel like it's just going to get better and better because we have a lot of things set for even 2023. We got Evil Dead Rise coming out, Scream 6. I think Final Destination 6 is coming out, Saw 10. The new Crystal Lake Peacock series, I think, is coming out next year. And who knows what else. There's things that aren't even announced yet. So this decade is shaping up to be one of the best, in my opinion. I know it's a little early to be saying that. But honestly, so far, I feel comfortable saying it. I mean, it could get bad by the end of the decade, but right now we're really strong. You know what I'm saying? Like this decade has been really strong for horror. A lot of love for horror, and I love it because horror deserves love for sure. So I'm going to wrap the podcast up here. If you guys did enjoy this podcast and you played it all the way through, please leave a like and subscribe. That would help me out a bunch. With that being said, I will talk to you guys very soon.